Thank you everyone for joining our office hours today. Today's session is entitled A Decision Maker's Guide to RPA and AI in Healthcare. I'm Jonathan and I am a Senior Solutions Engineer here at Infinix. And today we are joined by Charu, our Director of Product. We wanted to start our demo off with demonstrating our cognitive automation capabilities and then go right into a Q&A session. Charu, take it away.
Sure, I would love to do that. Hey, everybody. I think automation has been around for a while. It's not a new thing. It's just that it has been evolving. And I think as the technologies evolve, we have been evolving our automations too.
So first question is, can you provide a real world example where RPA significantly improved patient access or AR denials management?
Sure. So I think we've been doing automation for a long time now, and we've seen significant assistance of automation, especially the ones where you don't need a user assistance at all, which are follow-ups most of the time. That's where we've been doing prior auth follow-ups or claim status follow-ups, right? So that's the simplest of the automation one can think of. The next level of automation, we've seen huge usage, utilization, productivity improvement has been eligibility and verification. To go a little away from the regular automations you think of, we have learned over a period of time, automation standalone do not add value. If there are systems talking to each other, they are able to transfer data to each other, especially in a heterogeneous environment of systems that we have in the US healthcare today. We have automations that help you extract data from one system, convert it into the way our rest of the process automation system needs it. We also have data entry and reverse data entry automations, which in case our customers are not tech savvy, right? They don't have a tech team. They would just want you to extract data from their system to the others. We do automate the end-to-end piece to make sure that there are no hurdles in bringing efficiency into their system. So conversion of data to a particular format and then using it for any of the follow-up, initiation, eligibility is where we've definitely seen a good amount of traction. And of course, as we go further, credentialing, which is license check of providers, which are again pretty repetitive across multiple states and sites, we do see good usage of automation bringing in productivity and efficiency there.
That's great. I like what you said about a client that may not be able to have the technical resources in place to be able to lift the necessary, programming hooks and that kind of thing to be able to seamlessly integrate. And also the issue of EMR systems being so diverse. Some are closed systems, some are very capable of automation, and some are a little bit antiquated. So I love the flexibility approach to being able to kind of like, if there's a will, there's a way, to integrate.
And it's all about the solution. It's not about technology. It's about solving a problem. And I think that's what has worked for us, where we approach with a solution, and then technology is just the underlying layer, where is it RPA or API or any other HL7 integrations that you need. I think we have the experience in all, but what we are really good at is coming up with a solution that works for both the parties.
That's great. That's a mic drop moment. Well done, Trevor. That's actually a good segue into our second question here. It is relevant to our different approaches. So what are some key factors to consider when deciding between RPA, API, or even a hybrid approach?
Good question. I think that has been the most common misnomer that I've seen around. I do see people who have a good technological backing that they have within their systems to go for APIs. But API is a technological term which is used when there are two systems that do not understand each other but follow a standard to transfer data from one system to the other. This requires both systems to be technically ready to integrate. And that's when the APIs come in. Benefits are it's way faster. chances of errors are minimized because it's the technology pipe that you've come together with. But with, again, US healthcare, too many systems, all are heterogeneous. That's where RPA comes in. RPA is as good as a human replacement, where if a human was clicking certain screens, doing certain action, the robotic process automation or the RPA bot is normally just imitating those user actions on a screen. So the speed most of the time may be same or a little slower depending on how uh, complex that website or the portal is. The only benefit is, one, it imitates human behavior. Second, uh, it is saving any single second that a human would have spent. Instead of the human, it is this RPA bot, which is running and doing the same actions in a non-stop 24 by 7 way, provided the system support. So APIs are really a backend connection, but you need to be technically ready. RPAs are where you don't have the technical connection, but you're okay with having the same human speed with a good amount of accuracy.
The RPA stuff to me is very fascinating. The idea of imitation of human behavior, especially in regards to the redundancy factor. So, I mean, there are staff members that are plugging away, and it's hard work. It really is hard work. And I'm curious, like when like how often we have to update the RPAs based on the website changes? Do you see a frequent website change, or is it less frequent?
I do see good amount of security updates coming in. Of course, the market is sensitive to that, but I don't see, again, remember, this is a portal, any portal, right? Any payer portal that you talk about, these are used by power users. In a day, they do 30, 40, 50 cases, and they like the screen in a certain way. They know which button is there. So most of the time, none of these websites have a drastic change. There are fine tuning that happens once in 3 months, once in 6 months. But of course, do RPA need to be taken care of and be managed? Yes. If the website changes, if any of them are having a software update, you will need to update it, but it's once in 3 months, once in 6 months. So I don't see them changing their website every day where RPA would break.
And that's definitely where API would be more beneficial in terms of a standardized backend connection where it's not subject to change constantly. But even 6 months, that's hyper reasonable. And in today's culture of technology changing, sometimes on a
Exactly.
week to week
And
basis.
APIs do change. I think it's again software, right? It could have a bug, it could have some improvements or new features. They're sending new fields. So no matter which software you go with, it will need some amount of maintenance, but it's not something that's on fire every night. These are stable systems, these are well tested systems. And I think now the systems are becoming intelligent enough that they can make their own decisions, because now we're bringing in certain rules and behaviors that is, even if there are minor changes, we know how we can handle it in the software itself.
That's great. Also, can RPA run in tandem? So, for example, I have to get on the phone with the payer. Can the RPA bot be working here while I'm on the phone with the payer?
Totally. I think that's the good part where you hand off an action. So both type of bots. You have unassisted bots, which you just schedule them that they should run every morning at 6 a.m. and I'm in office by 7:30. Just run this, get me all the data that has to be in a particular way, and the time I log in, the data is ready. These are just scheduled bots. They do those repetitive actions and you're done. You have assisted automation. I have initiation case that we were just looking at. Once I've fed in all the important data, I can just move on to another case or a call or start talking. And whenever the automation needs attention, it gives a ding sound, which will get my attention that, oh, the automation needs my assistance to make a decision. So I take a decision and let it be, and then I continue with my other discussions. So yes, you can run automation in parallel to your other activities the way we've built it.
That's awesome. Yeah, just that alone saves a bunch of time because what human could be able to do data entry in two spots at the same time, right?
Correct. So it's been useful. We've tried it, we've seen the user feedback, and the whole wow moment is where I've seen some of our new users who just love seeing bot in action when it is just doing all its work. They just try to spend some time and feel amazed on how, oh, I used to hate this copy paste, and now someone, I have an assistant to take care of it. So it's pretty neat.
I'm one of those users that I end up reducing my efficiency because I'm too busy staring at the bot doing the work. So, like, oh, I better get back to work. The bot's
It's just
working
the
harder than
fascination phase. You'll pass through it.
I am. That's great. What are some of the biggest challenges in healthcare specifically regarding implementing RPA, and AI, and how can they be addressed? Especially like what you said about technical resources. Like, what are some of the challenges?
So, if I have to talk about the complexity, once you have understood the system and the process is predictable, for instance, I know what I need as part of follow up. There are these standard 3 or 4 fields that I need to plug in. I get a response back. So, this is a simple flow. Any RPA or API can support you with that. But the moment you get into payment posting or you get into initiation, which depending on the input, the kind of clinical questions or survey questions you'll be asked changes. This is where the intelligence needs to be built, or you need to have large enough data set to train your AI models on. So this is one of the challenges where one, the rules change every year, how the payers want certain responses to be, what is authorized, what is not authorized, when I would want an initiation. So this has been a challenge where we still need human in the loop to make certain decisions. I can build my AI predictive models today. We do that for predicting the non-authorized kind of cases. But we also know that we need to be constantly auditing our responses, making sure our accuracy is maintained. Because the moment a rule changes, you start having bad answers from the automation. So that has been one challenge, but it is something now with newer AI models, LLMs, ability to feed better data to our AI models. We say it takes 3 days to feed and train the AI model with all the latest rules that have come in. You test it out for a while and then you put it out. You make sure you audit 100% of the responses for a couple of months to make sure it is something you can rely, and then for the next 10 months you can just be on it. But it needs constant training, it needs a constant audit, which could vary depending on how new the technology is. So those are the areas where it would take time to be how people are selling AI. It's not as straightforward. LLMs can't predict answers right away. It needs the training time, and training needs data. So that's one piece where I do see some more learning that needs to happen as these models mature.
Well said. I think in lieu of some of the AI updates in technology from a general perspective, even the layman user is using AI and not even realizing sometimes. Even like some of the big companies are integrating it so seamlessly that people are just using their phones like they normally would, and AI is running the engine in the background. But I feel like it's almost a double-edged sword because people are so accustomed to the instant microwave style answer where they don't realize like, oh, this takes a long time to test, to train, to audit, to retrofit. Like there's so much involved in the process of lifting AI. And then on top of that, you have healthcare that has some serious legacy systems that are siloed. It's so wide. The birth of healthcare is so I mean, payers are like hundreds, if not thousands, So
Right.
yeah,
Audit
very
doesn't go
fascinating.
away. I think no matter whether it's the latest LLMs or AI or RPA for that matter, I would always keep some bandwidth for audits just to make sure you're not, because again, remember the speed of automation is pretty high. It can work nonstop. But the moment it starts faltering, it could become a problem, because by the time you figure out that you've got a no authorized, or no authorization required, you would not, it would be like 3 months later when the patient comes back to you. So I strongly recommend having an audit, regular audit, just to make sure that you catch if there are any anomalies that are coming up. uh, every automation should have some audit on a regular basis.
Agreed. Yeah, I'd be very concerned if some kind of an automation didn't have an audit, just running rampant.
You know what changed, and things may just start going. So we do manage services for all our automation. We make sure there are constant audits, there is clarity of data. We make sure we have proper reporting and alerting for our automation. So building automation is like 40% of the job. 60% is to make sure that it works consistently and it gives you 100% right responses. I might as well not have automation give you a response than giving you a wrong response. So
Uh, well said.
that's
Yeah,
something we take care of.
that's great. I did want to address the audience. So if you do have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We're always happy to take questions on the fly as well, because ultimately our office hours are for you. So we want to make sure if a question that's burning hasn't been answered, that we're addressing those as well. Another question I have here, Charu, is how can healthcare leaders ensure that their staff are adequately trained and prepared for the implementation after we've done all of the technical lift?
uh, there are a couple of techniques that I've tried with the customers that we have incubated as well as worked with. One of the things that works is you have a phase of hypercare. What does hypercare mean? The moment an automation is rolled out, if possible, train the automation on existing data where you ensure the efficacy, which is the accuracy of the automation, is pretty high, which makes you comfortable. For me, it is normally 90 to 95% accuracy of the output. Once the automation is trained, validated, audited, we work with the customer on regular basis where we keep monitoring and auditing the automation throughout, work with the customer to meet them once or twice a week to make sure if users have any questions, if they don't understand the responses. But it needs around 30 days to stabilize the users to adopt and have those interface or discussions for the first 30 days of adoption, depending on complexity. If it's a straightforward one, I don't think. So one is regular it connects. Second, make sure you've audited and validated results for your confidence. And third has been scaled approach to automation. Don't, if you have 10 people, start with reducing the members or improving your efficiency by having at least 8, then 6, then 4, then 2. But always have 80% staff diversified while 2 of them still are around to manage any kind of slowness, outage, needs attention kind of use cases. So staggered approach, regular connects during hypercare, and auditing kind of helps prepare. So need to build for that kind of capacity, at least when you're starting to adopt automation, which is new to you.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah. Regardless of the user, it's all brand new. So, it's going to take some people a while to get acclimated to it, especially, in healthcare. Any any kind of data entry specialist, any kind of administrative job, they're used to what they're used to. Like I come in, I do my job, and I go home. So introducing AI can be a little bit of a big effort for people. So I like that staggered approach and that scaling approach to training instead of a here's 1 week and good luck.
Change is always difficult, and I think the more you make it staggered, there's amazing adoption. I think the more you talk about it, you realize what, maybe it's a training issue, maybe it's a feature that they want, but those conversations have helped us settle the team for which automation is new.
That's great. I think we have time for one more question. I like these kinds of questions because it's almost a creative question of the future. So, what future trends do you foresee in the use of automation technologies, in healthcare, but particularly in patient access and AR denials management?
I'm sure all the automate. So, okay, taking a step back, 2, 3 years ago when I started off, automation was all about having those repetitive, redundant, dumb activities to be done by bots or automation. However, now with the advancement of technology, I see our automations becoming intelligent, cognitive. I don't think there is place for those standalone automations anymore where I just build and forget. There is a need to bring in efficiency across the system. Uh, Human will always be there. I don't see human going away, but they will be doing more intelligent jobs of decision making, like we were talking during initiation. What survey questions to answer? They would be doing audits by making sure that this digital agent, I like to call them digital agent, are doing the job properly. And if they're not doing their job, we'll have smarter systems that will make sure that the work is reallocated so that the end user is not affected. So I see good use of a flurry of technologies now coming together to form an intelligent system to really give the kind of output that we are looking for. It's not going to be a standalone technology anymore. It is going to be a buffet of technologies.
I love that. I think that's a good one to end on. Well, I really appreciate your time today, Charu. Very eloquent, very exciting. The nerd in me always gets excited with this kind of office hour. It's all very fascinating and cutting edge. So really appreciate the time and appreciate our audience tuning in.
Thank you so much. I love talking about automation and open to more conversations whenever you're ready for them.
Awesome. Appreciate you, Charu.
Thank you so much.
Take care.